All right, so it has been a little bit since my last Oscar prediction video, but a lot has happened since then that will definitely impact the race this year. We're going to get into my thoughts on it, what I think is going to happen, and update some of my predictions right now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Tyson, and we are here to talk about movies. That's right, we do movie reviews, movie trailer reactions. We cover major movie news on our Emit One podcast. We do movie rankings, and of course, we cover the Oscars here. So, if that sounds interesting to you, please check us on out. Give us a subscribe. We are on the way to 1,000 subscribers here, and I would love to have you guys along for that journey. We also did just pass the 300 subscriber mark. I really do appreciate that and all your guys' support that you have messaged me with. Means a lot here for sure. So, with that done, out of the way, guys, it's the Oscars. We're talking about it. Of course, some big things have happened since I last talked about this, and that is probably none other Dune. Dune Part 2 has moved. It is now coming out in March of 2024. It's left this year's Oscar race. Do I think that is a mistake by Warner Brothers? Yes, but, they did it. So it opens up a good amount of nominations, I would say, for some other films, and it might even open up some wins for Oppenheimer that they wouldn't have had if Dune stayed. So we're going to get into Best Picture because that is now kind of shaken up a little bit, and some films have done very well when they have premiered at the film festivals here, and Dune's out. Which one's going to take its place? Well, let's check that out right now here. At number one, no doubt, I still have Oppenheimer. I don't really know if I'll ever change that during the season. So Oppenheimer is sticking up there, and I feel pretty safe about that. However, I'm gonna put a new number two. I'm taking out Killers. I'm putting that down to number three. And this film is Poor Things. It's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. It stars Emma Stone, William Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo. It is great, getting amazing reviews. Right now, I'm going to look on Rotten Tomatoes here. It has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes with 47 reviews. Doing pretty well, if you ask me. And it did win the award, the Golden Lion at Venice. It's a pretty big deal. It is pretty significant as well when it comes to this Oscar race, which is why I think it is going to get a ton of nominations, and I do think it's going to get a couple of wins. And I am putting it at number two for Best Picture. I just, why I feel so confident about it is, yes, the critic score is great. It just won the Golden Lion at Venice. That's also huge. But I just feel like this film is going to get more and more people once it gets more of a wider release. Critics, audiences alike, granted audiences don't really matter for the Oscars, but critics and even Academy members are going to see this film, and I think they're going to see how different it is. But it takes a twist on a kind of fairy tale story that I think is really going to resonate and be just a cool, different feel for people watching this type of film. Also, I want to say, Killers of the Flower Moon, for me, I'm taking that down from number two. I'm putting that down to number three. Not too far, but significant because I have a feeling that Killers of the Flower Moon is kind of going to be like The Irishman. They're both directed by Martin Scorsese. I do think it's going to get a good amount of nominations, but I don't really think it's going to get a lot of wins, and I might not even have it win anything. Well, that's a lie. I'm going to have it win one award, but it might only win one. I mean, it's going to get nominated everywhere of importance, but I don't think it's going to do that well. I think it's going to be like The Irishman, but it's still at number three. And number three, originally, I did have Past Lives. I had Past Lives pretty high. I think as award season is going on, granted we're still pretty early, and maybe they A24 just didn't want to push it right now and start the campaign for it. But I'm feeling less and less hopeful about Poor Things making it. I still feel like it's going to make it in Best Picture, but I'm dropping it pretty low here, as I do feel like it's lost a lot of its significance, even though a lot of people who have seen it are still loving it and raving about it. I just think it might be a little too small to kind of be that high up on the list. And number four, I had Dune 2. That's gone. It gets replaced by a film I'll talk about here in a second. But I do think that The Holdovers right now is looking pretty strong as well. I'm hearing great things about that from people who have seen that at the festivals. And I do think that one's actually going to do significantly well. I think Paul Giamatti will also get nominated for Best Actor in that role. But I think that will be it for nomination-wise for him. But getting ahead of myself there on that category. But I think, The Holdovers I think is going to do pretty well. So I'm going to move that up pretty high. Saltburn here has premiered, and its Rotten Tomatoes score is at a 82% with only 17 reviews. Again, all these Rotten Tomatoes scores aren't anything like too big. They don't have many reviews in. But for the reviews they have, it's at an 82, which is good. But I've heard this film is a little controversial, and it may not. I think it's going to be a film where you either like it or you don't. I don't really think there's going to be many people in between. So, yes, it's a little controversial, and it might be either a yes or no situation, but I still think it's going to do decently well at nominations, and I am still feeling confident that it will get nominated here for Best Picture. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I do think that it's still getting in. However, I see it dwindling by a little bit here. But I'm not going to take it out of the running just yet. However, I am going to put it in that 7 to 10 slot. I'm going to put it somewhere in between there. Just because I really don't want them to just push it for animation and that's it, because it deserves to get picture. But as these films in fall and winter start to come out, it's usually when the big Oscar push is, and sometimes that bumps out films that have come out earlier in the year. And I think Across the Spider-Verse could possibly be affected by that, but let's hope it's not. Anatomy of the Fall, I think, is going to be very strong. I just do. I've heard that it's good, but it's not fantastic like I've been hearing. But I still think it's going to do decently well here at the Oscars, so I'm very confident that's still getting in picture. I like putting that one up higher. I feel confident about that. One I want to touch on is Barbie. I am feeling more and more confident about Barbie. I am feeling confident that's going to get pictured 100%. So that's a safe bet. Which film am I going to have that replaces Dune Part 2? Well, if we look here at my 11 through 15, Maestro and The Color Purple, I think, are probably the top two replacements for Dune Part 2. David Fincher's The Killer, I've been hearing it's fine, but it's not anything fantastic. I don't think that's actually going to get anything at the Oscars. Right now, it does have an 80% with 35 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. But I just don't really see that one moving up the needle anymore. I don't see that being really an Oscar contender. Air, I really love Air. I really do. It's one of my favorites of the year. I just don't see that getting attention at the Oscars. The Zone of Interest, I've been hearing, it floors people. Yes, it deals with a very sensitive subject. It could get in, but I think that one I might have at my 11 or 12 spot on picture. I'm not confident that it's going to get in, so I'm still leaving that one off. Which one am I putting in between The Color Purple and Maestro? I still don't know. They're very close for me. Bradley Cooper, of course, is directing and starring in Maestro. And The Color Purple, I think it's great. I said my reason was why I left that one out originally was because Warner Brothers then would have had 3 films in Best Picture. And that is really rare for a studio to have 3. But now with it not having Dune 2, I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to put The Color Purple in at 10. Just because I'm confident that Warner Brothers will probably now have 2 Best Picture slots in there. I'm still leaving Maestro off, which is with Netflix. Zone of Interest, again, with A24. So I would say Zone of Interest is 12 and Maestro is now 11. But yeah, I'm comfortable right now with putting The Color Purple in at number 10. So that is what the Best Picture race looks like as of now. Again, Dune 2 leaving did open up a lot of room, I think, for a lot of films in Oppenheimer with a lot of wins here. But yeah, I think it helps give Color Purple a boost in Best Picture. All right, moving on to Best Actor. Not a lot has changed here. Cillian Murphy, I'm still keeping at number 1 for Oppenheimer. Bradley Cooper, I'm going to move down the list to number 4, actually, for Maestro. Yes, I do think he's going to get in, but I'm just not confident about him being at number 2. Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm moving up to 2, and Paul Giamatti, I'm putting in at 3 for The Holdovers. Number 5, I have Colin Domingo. I had that when I first predicted the Oscars here in my last video. I am still going to keep him in. However, I think Joaquin Phoenix is going to be a real threat here to break into that top 5 and possibly take Colman Domingo's spot. Although I'm hearing fantastic things about Colman Domingo and Rustin. I'm very excited to check that one out. I love Colman Domingo. So I'm going to move Joaquin Phoenix up to 6 right now for Napoleon. If you've seen the trailer, you know how good that film looks. And you know that Joaquin Phoenix, he puts in 100% in every film he's in because he believes in it. He's a fantastic actor, especially since his win for Joker. You can't count this man out. So be on the lookout for him to get on into that 5th spot. But right now I'm going to keep it all the same with Colman Domingo staying on that 5th spot. But Joaquin Phoenix, I would not be surprised if my next video I put him in there. All right. Moving on to Best Actress. Number 1 has changed. Number 1 right now, I'm just going to say it, Emma Stone, Poor Things, locking it in. I think Emma Stone, not locking in for her to win, but I really do feel strongly with everything I've been hearing about Poor Things. You've been hearing how great Emma Stone's performance is in the film. And basically that she could get a second Oscar for this one, which is huge. I love Emma Stone. I think she's a fantastic actress. So I'm just putting her in at number 1 right now. Number 2, I am keeping Sandra Hüller from Anatomy of the Fall. I'm going to keep her at number 2. I'm going to put Fantasia Barrero for The Color Purple. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. I'm still going to put her at number 3. I am taking Greta Lee, and I'm taking her off the list, as well as taking Natalie Portman off of the list. I am putting in Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and I am also putting in Margot Robbie for Barbie. I think that Margot Robbie is getting a lot of buzz for the Barbie movie because, honestly, she's the driving force behind this movie. She made it happen. She was the main producer of the film, and obviously, she was the lead in Barbie. She was Barbie, and we can all sit here and you can all have your different opinions on Barbie. I love I think the film's great. It's a fantastic time for sure, but it's way deeper than I think any of us imagined it would be. And her performance in there it really is fantastic. It really is. Just how, yes, it's a comedic performance, but when those dramatic tones happen, I mean, she's phenomenal. So I do think she's going to get that nomination now, and I'm going to put her in there at number 5. I'm hearing for Maestro, I'm hearing Carey Mulligan is fantastic. I'm putting her in at number 4, but my number 3 through 1 are the same kind of people, just in different orders. So again, Emma Stone, number 1, Sandra Hüller, number 2, Fantasia Barrero, number 3, and then at number 4 I have Carey Mulligan, and at number 5 I have Margot Robbie. That is how I see the Best Actress race right now lining up. All right, moving on into Best Director, Christopher Nolan. I still see him doing it. I really do. This is probably the one I might feel like the confident about the most. Christopher Nolan, I do feel like is going to win Best Director. I feel like this is his time, so obviously he's getting nominated, and he's number 1. Number 2 has changed. I didn't even have him in my top 5. I do now. Number 2 is Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things. Again, hearing great things about that one. I don't think you can get all the nominations and not get it for director. So I 100% believe that he's going to get nominated. He's my number 2 right now. My number 3, Martin Scorsese. Again, it's Martin Scorsese. He's going to get in, I think. Don't know if he should. Haven't seen the film, but yeah, he's going to get in. Number 4, I have Justine Triet for Anatomy of the Fall. And at number 5, I still do have Greta Gerwig for Barbie. So not much has changed besides taking out Denis Villeneuve and putting in Yorgos Lanthimos at number 2. The rest of it is the same how I feel. Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest, I am going to have him at my number 6, so he's right on the cusp. I feel like I'm so excited to see Zone of Interest, and from what I'm hearing, it's great. Some people may not think that he should get in, but right now I have him in at number 6. I wouldn't be surprised, but I feel like this top 5 is pretty locked in, maybe? I don't know. We're early on in the season. So that's my top 5 right now for director. All right, Best Supporting Actress, number 1 has not changed. Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm very confident she's getting this nomination, and I'm almost pretty confident that she's going to win this thing. I mean, from what I've been hearing about the film, it stars Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio. but I've been hearing the breakout star is Lily Gladstone. Yeah, that's big. That speaks volume, if I'm honest. So I'm very confident in her. That's why she's number one. Number two and number three, I have the Color Purple ladies in here. I have Danielle Brooks and Taraji P. Henson. Excited to see this movie. I think they will both be getting in. And number four, I have Divine Joy Randolph. I'm confident that she's going to get in for the holdovers. My number five, though, that's a little more difficult. I do have Rosamund Pike in here for Saltburn. I am going to stick with that prediction. However, in my 6 through 10, I won't be surprised if any of them replace her. I do think Jodie Foster is... So what I've been hearing about Nyad is a lot of positive things about Jodie Foster specifically. And some of them are calling her one of her best performances of recent years. So I'm not going to be surprised if she's going to kind of be on the cusp of possibly getting into that nomination. Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, again, she really just does have that one scene in the third act of the film that's kind of like that Oscars moment, and it's fantastic. But I just don't know if she's in the film enough to get a nomination here for supporting actress. Viola Davis for Air could happen. She's fantastic in the film. I love her in that film. I think she knockout. I just don't think she's getting in this year for it. Julianne Moore for May December. Don't sleep on May December, by the way, for that film. I think a lot of nominations could possibly come that way. But right now, I'm not confident about Julianne Moore getting in number 5. So that's why I'm still going to pick Rosamund Pike for Saltburn. But if I had to pick my next runner-up, I got to go Emily Blunt because Oppenheimer's so big. But I feel like the one that could sneak on in here is Jodie Foster for Nyad. So that's what I think of Best Supporting Actress. And I feel like this category is also always the craziest in the Academy Awards. It just, you never know what direction this category is going to be. And I love that about Supporting Actress. Last one we're going to cover here today is Supporting Actor. This has not changed with the top two here. Robert Downey Jr. versus Ryan Gosling. I still think that Downey Jr. is going to get it here for Oppenheimer. I mean, just the way that he delivers this character. He disappears into it. Fantastic. Just incredible. Ryan Gosling for Barbie also does a lot more things with this role than we thought he was going to do. So, yeah, he's going to get in. Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. Yep, definitely going to get in there. Number 4, Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, going to get in because of how great Poor Things is. Number 5, scratch all these. Yeah, William Dafoe is getting in. No doubt. No doubt. I think that both William Dafoe and Mark Ruffalo are going to get in for Poor Things. Again, that film is getting an amazing amount of buzz. It is really surging right now, and I think it could even be the rival to Robert Downey Jr. Winning Best Supporting Actor. And I'm a huge fan of Robert Downey Jr., obviously. I love him as Iron Man. I love Iron Man, period. I think Tony Stark and his portrayal of that is fantastic. So I would love to see Robert Downey Jr. get an Oscar here. However, I do think his rivals come from a Marvel star, Mark Ruffalo, as well as William Dafoe. I think, and William Dafoe is a fantastic actor who has not won an Academy Award yet. Can you believe that? He has not won an Academy Award yet. It's crazy to me. Crazy. But Mark Ruffalo is also a fantastic actor. I really do like him a lot. So I do feel like those three, Mark Ruffalo, William Dafoe, and Downey Jr., are possibly kind of in contention with each other. Which, does that mean I think that, maybe they have a better chance than Gosling? I mean, I don't know. With how great Poor Things is getting, it could possibly take out Ryan Gosling's chances. But you never know. Oscar season, it's crazy. So we're in the early stages of it, guys. So really, guys, that's it. That's all the predictions I'm going to be updating here. These films coming out of the fall film festivals are, changing the predictions daily, and they're changing my view of the entire Oscar season. But that happens almost every day because we're early on. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's always fun speculating and predicting this early on in the season. So let me know your guys' thoughts on how you think these are going to kind of shape up. What do you think has the best chances in these categories here that I named? What has the best chances of winning? Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Would really love to hear it. And subscribe, as we are on the way to 1,000 subscribers. and I'd love to have you guys' support for sure. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Tyson_Mint1 and on Instagram at TysonH_. All right, guys, until the next one, I'll catch you then.